Daniel, nothing. With 70K, you're just talking nonsense. Yes, it was wonderful to see how many emotional comments were read again yesterday. And I still stick to it, because on the one hand, I showed the indicators yesterday and explained them that can happen, it doesn't have to. There was a significant reason that saved us from it yesterday. However, there is a possibility that the worst case scenario will come tomorrow. And what exactly is that? I will tell you that as well as what saved us yesterday, of course. And I will also give you some relevant crypto news along the way, plus a trading setup for today. And finally, if you are still looking for an exchange where you can trade decentrally without KYC, then I would definitely stay tuned. In this sense, we'll see each other after the intro. Now new. Uptrend VIP Trading, your opportunity to copy the signals of two professional traders for free. They managed to grow an account from $4,000 to $30,000 within 2 months. The results in the group are also impressive. All you need for this is a deposit of $100 into your BingX account. You can find all further information below in the description. A quick look at the crypto charts. Yes, you can see it. The fear definitely present. This chart shows us very clearly because you can see how many investors were now willing to sell at an absolute loss because the fear is so great that everything might continue to fall. Unfortunately, this picture also aligns with the institutional side when we look at the outflows from the Bitcoin spot ETF, especially concerning our core segment BlackRock. It looks anything but good. We have triple-digit million amounts here, a record outflow. Wow, incredible. And here too, the red numbers definitely show that we have more than just fear. If we now also look at the fear and greed index, it depends on which chart you're looking at. So let's take CoinMarketCap, for instance, where we are at least at 20. But just look at this value, how low it is. And when it was last this low, there are no records of it. So we have a record low here. However, if you take the pure Bitcoin fear and greed index, then we are even lower at 10. Or rather, it's interesting because if we look at the chart right now, it's doing quite wildly whatever it wants. Now suddenly we are in greed. Aha! Now we are back in fear. So you clearly notice even the fear and greed index doesn't know where it wants to go anymore. But now, jokes aside, you can simply see it. The fear is in the market, and I can only give you the tip, even if one says, yes, now is the perfect moment to strike, possibly with large assets, be it Bitcoin, Ethereum, possibly also Solana, etc. I will still get to trading. Set up. On the other hand, especially with the small caps, I would personally be quite cautious right now because we simply don't know how far Bitcoin will effectively possibly correct further downwards. Maybe it was the bottom. I rather don't believe so, but we'll get to that. However, on the other hand, how much will the altcoins fall down again? And when might the moment be reached with a small cap that the thing is just flat? And therefore, sure, with the dip, which everyone is shouting about right now, I would be quite cautious. Yes, I know times are tough, comments are getting harsher, the fear being represented definitely there too. And I still want to say thank you very much for your support at this point. We have almost 2,000 views, we have 127 likes. And if you want to push my work, my hours of research a bit, then it's very simple. In seconds, and also for free. Just leave a quick like, then you can really show the algorithm, wow, I think this thing is cool. Of course, also in a negative form if you are against it. And if this is the first video you're watching and you're thinking, okay, and Daniel, what exactly does he do? Exactly what it says here. Crypto daily, honest, fact-based, without hype. What you need for investing and additionally a trading update. So I would say everything has been said. If you want to be part of it, feel free to leave a free subscription. Activate the bell so you don't miss any important information. And now we continue. The reason for yesterday's further correction, well, that's again the hot topic. Tariffs. Now it's about the EU. Donald Trump, he was quite direct with his choice of words back then. Effectively, he feels cheated by the EU, and that's why the tariffs are being raised or imposed. So that's also the topic he has already announced. If any country has tariffs against us, then we will have them against that country as well. I just watched my live stream on this. Yes, it's a clear statement. And with that, we are back to the topic of traditional markets, Nasdaq and so on, where the tension is currently quite high regarding the range this whole issue will still have. And that has a massive impact on crypto. However, there was a factor that saved the whole situation again, namely the topic. I mentioned in the video yesterday why at 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. when it was announced the markets could become volatile, the Nvidia quarterly figures. And no one expected that the estimates would indeed be worse than the actual revenue. Then in the end, it was, and that led to positive momentum again. All in all, one can say, yes, this has saved the situation once again. I still maintain that if the figures had been bad, we might have been at those 70K today. However, more figures are coming out tomorrow that could really spoil everything for us. Specifically, the PCE data will be released tomorrow, Friday at 2:30 p.m. And therefore, we should not relax too much now and say, yes, that's it. Everything has been endured and everything is hunky-dory. These figures, if they turn out differently than the forecast, to the negative, it can directly push the market back into a different mood. Especially since, as I will show you on the chart in a moment, there hasn't been a particularly strong bullish impulse regarding the Nvidia figures. You just noticed, okay, we accept it for now and remain neutral. But it wasn't like there was a fear pump or anything like that. You can also see again how weak the bulls currently are. However, those who should be more than pleased with this whole scenario are the market makers. Because if you take a look at how many long positions have been liquidated in just the last few days, holy moly! So this is currently a very lucrative game. And you can see again, many Morgenstrategie over-leveraged in the market. I also read it again yesterday in my group. By the way, in case you're not part of it anymore, in the community group you can join, just check the link in the description. You can also see it there, unfortunately, very, very many over-leveraged positions. I can only give the tip to use less leverage but more capital so you can sit out such scenarios. Because what else? It just shoots you out directly. I also shared it briefly on X yesterday. Here you see it. That was just before the release of the figures. And I pointed it out again. There is simply no to-the-moon nonsense here. That's just the way it is. I clarify the clear facts. Whoever wants that, it's okay. Whoever only wants to live in the hype can do so. But unfortunately, they will end up losing a lot. Purely from experience. But I can give you the tip if you always want to be up to date and always have the latest news immediately. Doubling is always good. In this sense, you can simply take a look in the description below or search for uptrend info. And feel free to follow me there as well. A very quick look at Bitcoin dominance again. That doesn't look too bad at all. We are still inside our uptrend here and we are right here now. And I have drawn it up here on purpose. And that is basically the last top. That was before it really went down in the last bull run. Whether that will ever happen again, we don't know. There is significantly more liquidity in the space and we definitely know all of that. It gets interesting. Here, when we finally get into this, and we're back in the overheated area, but before we get to the trading setup, just a quick note, because there too, it must be said, they are doing everything in their power to clear up this whole mess around Gary Gensler. I think that's super cool. So here we have the next thing. It's about a suspension, a mutual request. Regarding Justin Sun concerning Tron and the SEC, that this court case is now initially suspended so they can first clarify what they actually want and so on. And here it is nicely written. It's about a 60-day suspension during which a status report can be developed. Yes, now one might of course shout, why isn't it immediately dismissed? Guys, I think this is a great thing. You can just tell the SEC is willing to make a sustainable impact in the market here. Not to make some hasty reaction, but to properly assess the situation, work it out, and reevaluate. And then you can discuss it calmly. So I think this is a great situation. And also what the SEC has been doing lately, almost every day now, there's either a judgment being overturned or no charges being filed at all, or court proceedings being suspended. I think it's great. Feel free to write in the comments what you think about it. I also looked into it in parallel. Yes, what's there at the SEC regarding the Ripple appeal and so on and so forth. Honestly, folks, my aim here is to convey facts and news to provide you with a trading setup to create value for you. It doesn't help any of us if we paint a very rosy picture with a crystal ball every day and philosophize about it, yes, but if the SEC somehow, and then it could, and wow, and then there's this scenario and it could get really intense. Of course it can get really intense. Do we know it? No. And that's exactly the point here. We have no idea what will actually happen. And in the article, to summarize it briefly for you, it says exactly that. At least I've been able to save you a bit of time from reading through it. In the end, if there is news, you will hear it from me. Currently, we are on the same page. There is another closed meeting. It could, would, might, would. All conjunctives summarized together. Here is really something big happening today. Or just like in the last closed meetings, not. And that's why we should just wait and see. Now let's move directly to the trading setup. And here I already announced it yesterday, a new partnership with BingX. If you're interested in trading without KYC, this is a bonus you won't find elsewhere. Only with the link here in the description, you can use it, start trading directly, and otherwise, there is also a deposit bonus. If you deposit $100, you will receive $25 in your futures account, credited. If you deposit $500, there's even an $80 bonus, and now directly to the trading setup. Basically, this also came up in the comments yesterday. It is always important to keep an eye on all charts, whether it's the 15-minute, 4-hour, daily, or weekly chart. It depends on what goals you have, basically. Now, let's quickly start here with the 15-minute chart. So we had this downtrend here, then came the breakout sideways movement, and it went down. And now we basically have an uptrend again, which doesn't look too bad at first glance. So there was already a bit of upward movement here. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything because, as you can see, in 15 minutes, a lot can change very quickly. And that's the point here. We should keep an eye on whether there is a possible breach of this trend line again, because then it can very quickly lead downwards again. So we are just now testing the critical area below again, one that I marked in the video 2 days ago. If you haven't seen it yet, feel free to check it out here. And as I said, it needs to be broken through first for us to say we're in a safer zone here. And if we look down here, it already went significantly downwards. For example, what I mentioned yesterday with the Nvidia numbers. If we take a look here now, you'll see the numbers were announced yesterday at around 10:30 p.m. So, such a massive pump, we can't really observe anything significant here. Of course, it went upwards after the numbers, everything's fine. But afterwards, it went down again, almost back to the same level. And then there's a kind of downward trend to it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if the numbers don't look good tomorrow, it couldn't go significantly down again. Let's take a quick look at the heat map now. Yes, up here there's a lot that could still be picked up. They're having a good lunch here right now. That means up to 87,600, it could still be interesting for that area to be reached. However, down here it looks also very interesting, and we're roughly at about 83,150, and if we take a quick look at the daily chart, we're exactly in this range. In here, at 83,150, we're roughly here now. You can notice it just the same, the candle downwards. That is still pending here. This is very critical. Volume area. So, as I said, folks, it can quickly go down in the other direction. Moving on to Ethereum, yes, it looks similar. We have a large volume area here that could still be reached. You can see right now that there is a corresponding uptrend, but as I said, I wouldn't rely on it blindly because there's still quite a bit down here. And if you compare it again, I have marked a bit in the daily chart of Ethereum, so you can see it here. We had the uptrend, which I deliberately left in here, smooth, broken through. And for me personally, that's the critical level. So at 2172 or roughly 73, because if that is sustainably broken, we also see how often it has already been tested. It was the case here, it was the case here, it was the case there, here, where there was then the strong rejection upwards, tested a few more times here, also here at D and D, rejection downwards. If it goes through there, Down here, the volume area, it gets thin, so it might be where I've drawn steam to. Here, that we then remain in this area, here in this range. Here, it's more likely to stay in this area. Or maybe, even in the worst case, make a complete belly landing here and end up understanding somewhere around 1619 or so. So, we'll have to wait and see about all that. Moving on to XRP. Now, regardless of which time frame I call up, it lights up brightly. It's down here, and that's every time at 2046. Now, let's continue looking here. I've also drawn that in now. Now, we are here in the 4-hour chart. We see here there's a beautiful dance happening at the Fibonacci line. If we should see the 2.14, then we are more or less exactly back in the middle. From this area, we are now here at 2146. We have arrived back in the critical zone here, because if we fall below this value again, let's say around $2.08, then it is quite conceivable, and this has been heard more often now, that this would be the reason we could fall down to $1.57 again. Last look at Solana. No matter the time frame, we have a big yellow bar here at $130. There's a lot of liquidity to be gained there. And now let's take a further look at the chart. And exactly these $130, I've marked them for you here. And you see, this is exactly the transition from the volume blocks where all the support is lost. If it goes below that sustainably, then we've already tested it here once, then we come exactly into this volume area. We hope now that the support holds there, because if it doesn't hold, it is quite possible if we take the next larger block here, then we are represented in this range. So something around plus or minus $70 for Solana. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. That should be it for now. Many thanks also for your daily support once again at this point. And if this video has helped you or you liked it, feel free to leave a free like or write your opinion in the comments about what you think. As I said, these are chart metrics. It doesn't have to happen that way. The news is then the combination to it. Nevertheless, it still doesn't look very rosy right now. And finally, I can give you the tip to check out this video. I talked about the last hope, about the possibility 70K for Bitcoin. I can give you the tip if you don't want to fall flat on your face. Feel free to check out this video. Maybe you can extract 1 or 2 useful tips for yourself. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow in the next video. Until then, all the best. Bye.